What up, guys? It's your friend Kyle, and I am back with another Kyle's Best of 7, my top 7 players at every position. Now, we have done every single offensive position except left field, so today we will be going over left field. Now, I must warn you, this is probably the thinnest position out of all of them. I thought it was second base at first. Catcher was also pretty thin, but man, left field is just thin. Now, with the exception of a couple of guys, I would say if you're looking for a left fielder, you got to use somebody from center field or somebody from right field, because some of those guys are the best guys in the game. There's no reason not to have those guys play left field if they can, so make sure to load up with those types of guys in left field. But there are a few studs in left field that could do the trick. So I'm just going to wrap up the offensive guys by doing this video today, and then we will get on with starting pitchers, relief pitchers, and closing pitchers eventually. But today is left field. Now remember, keep in mind, this is all preference, okay? This is all who I feel. If you guys feel differently, then that's on you. You can comment below, let me know who you disagree with, who you would put in your top 7. But don't try to execute me over my picks for, we've gone over this, you guys. It's all personal preference, all right? I love you guys. I appreciate you guys for letting me know, but some of you guys take it personal and you really shouldn't. It's really just a biased list. It's who I've used. It's who's gone against me, that's killed me. That's what I'm basing it off of. So I'm also basing it off of attributes, obviously, but I also judge it based on swing, batting stance, all that good stuff. So keep that in mind. It's my personal list. Don't want you guys getting too upset. With that being said, let's get into our top 7. Like I said, it's a pretty thin position, so let's get started with the number 7 guy right now. And for those of you guys that have missed the other lists, my favorite catcher, Jorge Posada. First base, Frank Thomas. Second base, Roberto Alomar. Shortstop, Honus Wagner. Third base, Chipper Jones. Right field, Cody Bellinger. Center field, Willie Mays. So let's get into left field now. Number 7 is Lou Brock. Now, Lou Brock I have used a little bit in... Oh, I'm not on my main account, so I can't show you my stats with him. But I have used him a little bit in... when I was trying to record this video originally, I ended up having to cancel it because I had to go do something. But I showed my stats, and I was batting 500 with him when I had him starting on my main team when he first came out. Now, the reason I took out Lou Brock from my team had nothing to do with offensive production, because with those hitting stats and that speed, obviously he's an offensive threat. He has similar stats to somebody like... he actually has pretty similar stats to Roberto Alomar now that I look at it. Obviously, Lou Brock isn't a lefty. I mean, isn't a switch hitter, but also like a Kenny Lofton and Ichiro type where he gets those blue pits and then you get on base and he's a stealing threat. So Lou Brock's definitely an offensive machine. It's just that fielding, man. That fielding's terrible. It wastes his potential as a starting outfielder. He has a 62 fielding, a 75 arm strength, a 74 reaction, and a 69 arm accuracy. Like, he's just not good. He's not a guy you want in the outfield. Maybe in like a BR run you could use him, but even in that he may cost you. So that's the problem with Lou Brock. I do not mind him on the bench. I do not mind him on the bench at all, especially because he's pretty cheap. You have him on the bench as like a pinch hitter or pinch runner in emergency situations, that'll do it. But 117 contact versus righties, a 70 power versus righties, 97 contact versus lefties, 66 power versus lefties. With a 109 vision, that's still a very good hitting card. So, I mean, I like Lou Brock off the bench. I think he's a very good bench bat. If we were going off bench bats, he may be number 2 of all of the left fielders. But, no, he'd probably be like number 4. But still, I mean, he's definitely valuable there. I wouldn't start him in the outfield with that fielding attribute. But he's still worthy of being top 7 in my opinion, Lou Brock. Now, number 6 is Ryan Braun. Now, this is another card, offensive threat. Against righties, he has 104 contact and a 94 power. Against lefties, he mashes 120 contact, 108 power. So he's definitely a good platoon bat. He has a 95 vision still, which isn't too low. It's actually pretty good for a guy that's not like a 99. And you know, you just don't really expect Ryan Braun to have a crazy high vision, so that's definitely a decent vision. He has decent speed, 74, 80 stealing, but it's the damn fielding again, man. It seems like this is a really common trend amongst all the left fielders, that their fielding just sucks. 68 fielding, 70 reaction, a 68 arm strength. This guy can play third base, which is always valuable when an outfielder can play an infield position. But for Ryan Braun, it's really not that valuable because he has a 68 fielding. What are you really going to do there? You know, he's just not valuable on D. So this is another guy where you could have off the bench. I mean, let's say you have a guy like George Brett playing third, or you have a guy like, I don't know, Griffey in the outfield, and you don't feel comfortable facing lefties with him. Ryan Braun comes off the bench, rakes against lefties, one of the best hitters in the game against lefties. You could do something like that, but I just wouldn't trust his glove in the field, especially at third. And there's just too many outfielders to justify starting Ryan Braun. So, with that being said, if you guys are looking for some value on your team and you don't have a lot of stubs, he is very cheap. You can use him. I would just tread lightly with the fielding. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, left field, Ryan Braun, number 6. Number 5, Juan Soto. Now, his fielding is a teeny bit better. At least it's a silver, but you guys know his live series card, his fielding sucks. But still, with a 67 arm strength and a 70 reaction, he's really not that good of a fielder. I mean, like I said, this is just a common trend amongst the left fielders, but he rakes. 100 contact versus righties, 122 power versus righties, 102 contact versus lefties, 79 power versus lefties. This is a card who I tend to face a decent amount in ranked seasons, mostly like around championship series. Before you get to World Series, you face a lot. You face a lot of Juan Soto. Seems like a lot of players just really like using him, but he absolutely rakes. I mean, if I throw lefties against him, he's hitting tanks, even though it only has a 79 power. It seems like it's a little more than that against lefties, because I promise you he does hit lefty-lefty home runs. I think with Juan Soto, this is a case of a good swing and a good batting stance that helps players do well with him. Now, he's a 98 overall. He has a 99 vision, which is good. It's almost at 100. That's a big PCI. You should feel comfortable with that. And 125 discipline, which helps with the check swings and all that. Like I said, the fielding's not that good, but in left field, it's serviceable. A silver is serviceable. You can use that, and that's what has him above some of these other guys that have just like decent hitting stats as well. But I've never gotten to use this card personally, but it seems like every time I face him, he does pretty well. So with that being said, Juan Soto, definitely a good bat. Definitely starter worthy in left field, but definitely at least a pinch hit guy. You know, so another guy that you can have on your bench and feel comfortable even if you have to face a lefty with him. 60 speed isn't that fast, obviously, but it's okay. You know, left fielders, you're not going to get a lot of speedy guys. So Juan Soto, our number 5 left fielder. Now, number 4 and number 3, you would think they would be flip-flopped. You would think Rickey Henderson would be number 3, and you would think my number 3 guy would be number 4. But the number 3 guy's price makes him more valuable, in my opinion, and the way he plays in this year's game makes him more valuable. But Rickey Henderson, when this card first came out, everybody just had hard eyes seeing this, especially me. You guys know how I am. I love to have a speedy guys that can field well and also hit well. And at the time when it seemed like contact hitters were more successful than power hitters in this game, this Rickey Henderson looked like the most valuable card damn near in the whole game. He has 99 speed stealing, which makes sense. Obviously, he's the best base stealer ever, so that makes sense. Of course, it wouldn't make sense for him to have anything less than that. But his hitting stats were crazy too. You weren't really expecting him to have that much power, and it's not a crazy amount of power, but it is enough power. I was batting him leadoff, and I was killing with him. But 101 contact versus righties, 108 contact versus lefties, 76 power versus righties, 86 power versus lefties. Against both hands, he was able to hit. Now, the problem with Rickey Henderson is he just has a weird swing. He has a weird swing, a funky little batting stance, and it was kind of messing people up. Not a lot of people were successful with him. You know, a lot of people used him. Everybody tried him at one point, and then he just found his way off of a lot of people's teams, including mine, because he just wasn't getting on base enough to take advantage of that speed. And you would think he would, because the hitting stats are okay, but there just comes a time where certain guys, they don't have that swing for you. And unfortunately, that's what it happened with Rickey Henderson, and that's why he's not in the top 3. But with that vision, that discipline, the attributes did everything they could to try to make him a usable card. And his fielding's phenomenal too, with a 96 reaction with that speed. I mean, he was getting to everything in the outfield. 86 fielding, 83 arm strength. He was still decent. It's just the swing. Wasn't good, but maybe if you try him out, you may like his swing. He's 60,000, which is still pretty expensive in this game. That's why he's my number 4. But if you can afford to try him out, for sure try him out. He was on my bench for a very long time. I was using him to platoon against lefties. He got some really timely hits for me. The only reason I took him out was recently when Trout came. Now Trout's on my bench, so there's that. But I mean, he's definitely a valuable bench bat with that speed and those hitting attributes. I mean, it feels like a waste having him locked in my collection and not using him, so I'm probably going to find a way to get around that. I could sell Trout and just get that money back. I don't know. I'll figure that out later, but for now, Rickey Henderson, our number 4. Now, number 3, my boy Joey Gallo. Now, this card is absolutely amazing, and I know his stats, like his attributes, aren't as good as like even Juan Soto's, or definitely Rickey Henderson. Like, Rickey Henderson's attributes are overall a lot more impressive. It's just the fact that with this year's game, Joey Gallo is just better. For some reason, he's just better. You guys know how Gallo goes. You guys know how his live series goes. He's just a glitchy card, and he's only 20K. So you could get this card, have him starting in your outfield, not have to worry about a thing. He could even start at third base, first base. It don't matter. The vision looks low, and it is low, but he still does it. I don't know why he's still good. Don't look at that vision. You guys know I pay attention to a vision a lot. Don't pay attention to it with Gallo. He just rakes for some reason. Gallo still has a pretty noble fielding. It's still more than Juan Soto's, 78, and he has a decent arm with 85, but that power is what makes him incredible. 70 contact, 78 contact versus both hands. Not too low. It's still decent. 120 power and 124 power. He actually hits better against lefties. So a lot of people like to bring in the lefty regardless, just to try to make the batter feel uncomfortable, but you guys see me. I love using him against lefties. So Joey Gallo is by far one of my top 3 left fielders, and it kind of speaks to how thin the position is, but he's deserving of it. I mean, he hits tanks. So Joey Gallo, our number 3 guy, make sure to try to use him. He hits bombs. The top 2 shouldn't be too surprising. Number 2, Ted Williams. You guys know about Ted Williams. He has always been a glitch in this game. He's been in this game since 2015, and he has been disgusting every single year. Pretty much a must-have up until this year. Why? Because there are a lot of guys that have hitting attributes similar to his. Obviously not as good as his, because his hitting attributes are damn near perfect, but almost as good as his with better fielding and better speed. So that's just what separates him with a lot of the starters. Willie Mays, Cody Bellinger, Mike Trout, Ken Griffey, all those guys. They all have damn near flawless hitting stats too, with better speed and better fielding. So that's what kind of separates Ted Williams with a lot of those guys. That's why he's not a must start, but people do start him still. And obviously they should. I mean, he's pretty much flawless against righties, and even against lefties. 123 contact, 100 power, 125 vision, 125 discipline, 125 clutch. I mean, he's a robot. He's an offensive robot. It's just his fielding. 70 feeling, 67 reaction, 71 arm strength, 56 speed. It's not that good in the outfield. He's an amazing bench bat. Guys like him, Lou Gehrig, you need them on the bench because they can hit against both sides. They have nice swings, nice batting stances, and they're pretty much affordable. You know what I mean? It's only $100,000 for these guys, and to get a guy up who's probably going to bat up in the 400s with you off the bench, it's definitely worth it. I mean, these cards absolutely rake off the bench, and when you got a guy whose stats are like this, if he's not starting, he has to be on your bench. That's just how the game works. You got to have guys like this ready that can hit against both sides. So Ted Williams, absolute stud, number 2. Let's get on to number 1. You guys already know who it is. Big Babe. Look at that. It's actually insane to look at. 125, 125, 125, 125, 111, a little low, even though it's not. It's still very high. 125, 125. Clearly, they got respect for Babe Ruth. I still think if Babe Ruth played in today's game, he would be a .053 batting average hitter. Maybe not that low, but he wouldn't. A lot of people think he would come up and be Trout. He wouldn't. Anyways, 75 fielding, better than Ted Williams, obviously. His speed's a little better than Ted Williams. I mean, it's really, those are the only two things that put him above Ted. When you take price into consideration, Ted may be more valuable just because he's about $200,000 cheaper, and you'd basically be paying $200,000 extra for 5 extra fielding and like 10 extra speed. So I mean, it really doesn't matter. But I know Babe Ruth has a crazy good swing. Every time I face him, I give up home runs. A lot of people like using him. People think he's the best card in the game. People think he's a must start in left field. He may be, for those people. It's just I value fielding and speed too much to have him in left field. I'd rather have a guy like Willie Mays in left field or Mike Trout in left field while I cover the other places. You know, Ken Griffey, if he didn't get those terrible animations in left, it would be him too. So if it wasn't for that and that stuff didn't matter, of course Babe Ruth is going to be starting on my team. It's just the fact that some people have different preferences. You know, you guys may value it differently. You guys may see Babe Ruth's stats and know if you get a hold of him, he's starting in your lineup immediately. And I can't blame you for that because his hitting stats are so good. It's just for me, I like an overall well-rounded game. You know what I mean? But with that being said, it'd be naive to say Babe Ruth isn't the best left fielder in the game. Obviously, one of the best outfielders in the game. And if you have that money, he needs to at least be on your bench. He's the best hitting card in the whole game. So with that being said, that's my top 7. Next time, we will be on to starting pitchers, which I'm excited about because that's where things get kind of crazy. I mean, a lot of these are pretty predictable with starting pitchers, relief pitchers, and closing pitchers. I think you guys will enjoy those, all right? I appreciate you guys for stopping by for Kyle's Best of 7. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.